I appreciate you still coming on this show when I know for a fact that some people are like questioning, like, wait, don't you do the same thing? I was like, no, we don't. And so with that line though of drones, isn't your goal just to spy on people? Just joking.
Let's talk tails.
Today's guest is a seasoned entrepreneur and business strategist with over 22 years of experience in launching over 365 businesses. She has a passion for empowering entrepreneurs to make money with a background in franchising, including her time with the Little Gym and now franchising Phoenix Drone Pros. She enjoys guiding small business owners to expand their influence, generate more revenue, and achieve financial abundance. As a visionary leader and business coach, she is dedicated to helping women build thriving connections through her transformative coaching program and local Power and Elevate conferences. She empowers women to unleash their profit potential by building their network directly through their networks. It's Colleen Biggs. How are you?
Taylor, I'm so good today, right? It's a good day.
It's a great day, right? Every day can be a great day.
Absolutely.
So was I correct in that I said 306? Yeah. Did you choose one year and said, you know what, every day I'm going to make a business? Tell me the tale on how that happens.
Questioned so many times. They're like, how many businesses do you own? And it's, we own like 3-4 businesses right now. But I have not personally launched every single one of those myself. I have worked with that many CEOs, that many mom and pops, that many individuals that said, I want to go from being a W-2 to being an entrepreneur. And so I've been able to be honored, I guess, to say, and blessed to walk alongside them through that process of them and the journey of them opening up a business. So that's really where I honed my skills for like 20 some years in understanding what it takes to be an entrepreneur, how to help them really find their magic, their secret sauce, what they bring to the table, how to help them hone in their leadership skills, because owning a business is different than having a job. And the biggest mistake I see is most entrepreneurs create a job because that's what they're comfortable with,
right?
Instead of owning a business. So that I think working with those CEOs, those leaders, those entrepreneurs. So I personally did not own those myself, but I did launch every single one of those and was right there through that process.
That's so amazing. I love what you said there, and that so many people just create a job for themselves. They create a job that we can't leave from, versus an actual business. And so for those who want to truly create a business, what do you think are those differentiators or things that you need to do to have a true business versus just a solid job?
Yeah. Well, the number one thing I would say is you need to start by creating the business around the type of lifestyle you want to live. And I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, like, oh yeah, right, whatever. Entrepreneurs work 80 hours. Well, I don't. My husband doesn't. I own several businesses.
Like, I got kids. I
have 7 kids, 13 grandkids.
You have 7 kids?
Yes.
I did not know that.
13 grandkids. Where I'm on a board in my community. I serve on other nonprofit boards. I do a lot of service. I'm out there creating conferences for women. I just came from a networking business conference. So I'm doing all of these things and I'm like, and I work like 30 hours a week. So, and they're like, when do you sleep? I don't have a job. So I think the biggest thing is this. When you have a job, you try to do all of it yourself. So here's your typical entrepreneur. I'm going to be the marketing head. I'm going to be the content. I'm going to be the person that does the sales. I'm going to be the person that does everything in the business, right? All of the IT, all the everything. And I always say, find the who that can do the how, right? Find the who that can do the how. And it's a simple process, but and a lot of people don't want to start investing in that. They're like, oh, I don't have the money. I'm like, this is an investment in a business. It's not debt. And, I find buying businesses, because we have bought businesses versus starting businesses, to also be very lucrative because they've already tested the market. They've already built the brand. They already have everything. That's why I love franchising so much, because we've tested the market. The brand is already out there. It's a 10-year-old brand in Phoenix Drone Pros. And now someone can just kind of buy a business in a box. And then we teach them how to work on the business. and not necessarily try and be everything in the business. So you have to bring on and invest in people to do your books and people to maybe do sales for you.
Right.
Like, what is your number one thing you love to do that lights you up? And then hire all the other people to do the other things. Like, you love to do the actual video and right. Like, you love to be there. You love to do the video. Maybe video editing is like not your number one thing. So and this happened to my husband when we started Phoenix Drone Pros. He would spend hours editing, like 12 hours making a video. He sent it to a person and got it back within 2 hours.
2 hours, right?
Like
someone who loves doing it
better,
too. Right.
10 times better than he ever could create it. I'm like, you need to start hiring video editors.
Yeah.
And he started building a team of video editors, and now it's just like turn around. Just you send it out, you get it back the next day. Send it out, you get it back the next day. You don't have to do any work on it. So that's the number one thing is you've got to get a team because the only way to scale a business and grow a business is to multiply your time. And the only way to do that is by having a team of people. So not creating a job for yourself, but really looking at what type of lifestyle. And no one wants to work 8 hours a week.
No.
And make zero money most of the time. Because it's just all expenses. And at the end of the day, you're like, and I worked 80 hours and made zero.
Right. You know? And what do I have to show for it?
Right.
Yeah. And it's true. Like in any type of, no, it doesn't matter the industry or even, when you look at a sports team that's successful, it's teams that work cohesively together. And I know, I was raised in you get a job, you work there, you get your pension, you get, you retire from there. And that when I started my own business, my parents were like, oh, what are you doing? And when I started hiring, my mom's like, what? You're going to teach them how to do everything you do? But then they're just going to take all your clientels and go. And it's just like that mindset, right? That mindset of like, no, you can't teach people how to do things. But it's also like a choose your heart. Would you rather do the grind every day, all day by yourself? Or do you want to train people? Maybe they leave. Maybe. I know I left businesses that I was trained from. But maybe they become an awesome team member.
Yeah.
And they really help you with your vision and with your goals.
If it wasn't for the company that I worked for at the little gym, like you talked about in my bio, I wouldn't have learned and honed the skills in franchising that I did. And did I know that, 10 years later after that I would be franchising one of my own businesses that I own? No way. I would have told you back then, like, no way. But knowing that and us testing the market to see if we could get pilots, drone pilots in other states without us training them, we would get the videos back and be like, did your 2-year-old fly that drone?
Right.
Like, we showed you what we needed. And so it's like, if we were to take our brand and then multiply that across the United States with people that want to leave corporate America, they're frustrated. They are not making the money they want to make. They're frustrated. They can't go any higher in the company, or they're traveling. They never see their families. And we're just like this family first type of company. Right. Everything I do, I put my family first, like my values, my family, my faith, my community. And when you kind of launch from that pad, you will attract people that want to have a business like that, where their family can be first. Because if I were to line up 10 people in corporate America today and say, are the companies that you work for family first, meaning every one of your families always come first before your job, every single one of them would say no.
I believe
that. The corporation says, I have this job duty, I make this much money, I'm worth this much to them, and they don't really care what happens with my family. I still need to be here no matter what. I had a friend tell me the other day that she got 2 days off when my sister-in-law passed away, and she was her daughter.
Oh my
And she said her company, and I won't name the company, gave her 2 days off when her mother passed away. And I was like, I couldn't imagine.
No, that's
that
insane.
is
like even if it was your aunt,
first.
That's not long enough.
Yeah.
Like, just the
it's
family.
It's not
that's
family
crazy.
first.
Yeah, no.
So I think of like what is important to you in your life, and if family is, or your significant other. I'm not saying you have to have a family. Maybe your fur babies, are important to you, and you want to be able to serve your community more, and you don't want to travel all the time and miss out on all of these opportunities with your nieces and nephews. That's kind of really the core of Phoenix Drone Pros. And the one thing that my husband has loved so much about building this business was the freedom for us to be able to have time with the family. He can take grandkids with him, on a shoot, because you're really not meeting the customer. They're just saying, hey, they're online ordering. I need you to do this at this time. Right. And then he just shows up and does
And the great thing with drones is a lot of times you don't have to deal with audio. So you just get to have them be there. I know my son, he was on a Bjorn his first, year and a half of life, just coming from set to set. And then once he started talking, I was like, oh, okay, I get out of here and listen to drone shoot or something like that. Because a lot of audio is involved.
Yeah, but when you're working with big construction companies, and you're just out there doing regular monthly videos and mapping so that they can see what's being moved and where equipment's being delivered, and you're reporting that back for the company so they can get more of their funding. It's you can just plan your day and your shoots around all of that. And that's what I love the most about being an entrepreneur. And then what's exciting about helping other entrepreneurs have that life. And I kind of see it like you're locked into the 9 to 5 or whatever that might be if you're a W-2 worker. So it's really for those that are craving to want to start a business, but they're scared to death to start their own business, right? They just don't have that gene, I call it, to get out there and risk it all and start. It's like a business in a box. So it's like a soft landing.
Yeah.
Starting a business from scratch, so much we learn.
So much
buying
you mess
one
up
already
on
up
too.
and operating, or buying a brand that already exists where you just have to plug and play in it.
Man,
it's already, it's so much easier to grow.
It really is. And, I'm going to talk a little bit about an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I do drones. You do drones. I know some people are wondering, why are you having a competitor on your show? And to me, I don't see competition.
No.
I see collaboration because there's always enough business for everyone.
Yeah.
And there's always opportunities for everyone and collaboration. I was really grateful to hear that you also do drones, because I'm like, oh my goodness, I only have one licensed person on my team right now. And sometimes I need someone in Phoenix at the same time I need someone in Flagstaff. Yeah. And so for me, I just love collaborating. And so I appreciate you still coming on this show when I know for a fact that some people are questioning, wait, don't you do the same thing? And I was like, no, we don't. And so with that line though of drones, isn't your goal just to spy on people? Just joking. I know it's exactly why our insurances are way too high, because they just think we're there to spy on people.
Okay, so 10 years ago, the fun thing about drones 10 years ago when my husband was assembling them himself, because they didn't come like they do today with a camera on it and all that. It wasn't that at all. You had to put a GoPro on it and hope you got a photo every 10 seconds, and you taped it on. That's kind of the way it was 10 years ago. But they've been shot out of the air. My husband's been attacked by individuals from people.
It's such a shame.
It's such a shame. You had to be really careful with law enforcement because they want to take the drones because they don't understand them. But when your drones are missing, then that's your livelihood. What do you do with that? Here's what I know. Every franchise opportunity out there could be considered my competition. If someone's looking at all of these companies because they want to start a franchise, I'm going to be in the mix of those. They're going to choose what speaks to them. They're going to become part of a franchise based on the owners, based on what the delivery looks like, based on the support that they're offered. There's so many things. So, as a business consultant and a coach and working with women and all of the businesses that I've opened for all these years, the one thing that differentiates you and me are you and me.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what differentiates our companies. It's what differentiates everything. And so many businesses have come to my husband and said, we had a person do a video for us. This is what it looked like. It's not what we wanted. Can you do this better? Or can you do this differently? And sometimes we've delivered something. They're like, well, that's not really what I wanted. And then they want something that we can't deliver. So then we're going to refer that to someone else. Or someone reached out to us the other day and wanted us to search and rescue for a dog in the dunes. And my husband's like, I think it might be better for you to find someone in Yuma. A lot closer to you, because I had to drive 4 hours to you and 4 hours home. So the cost that you see on the website isn't actually the cost because I can't.
Travel costs,
I've got to travel to you. Yeah. And I don't think that's going to be lucrative for me to come look for your dog, and the person in Yuma could get to you quicker. So referrals of drone companies, you do that all the time, right? All the time. And for us, I'm so family centered that I want to attract franchisees that want to be family centered, because I'm going to treat you that way in the franchise community. It's the same thing with the Empower and Elevate conferences that you talked about. I attract women in the room that want to serve the other woman, that wants to open up a door for them. That's just who I attract. I don't attract the mean girls that are there to take, have a competition mindset. I don't attract any of those women because they're not interested in who I am or how I do things, because that doesn't fit their narrative.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. No, mean girls are out. Like I feel, especially nowadays, like I think we've had so much more energy towards helping each other, because really we need to work together in order to have a brighter future for all. And I do feel that, without community, without working together, whether we may have a similar clientele, it doesn't matter. It's all about, at the end of the day, who can help that person the best. And that's what I think we all really connect with. So tell me, what was the tale that you told yourself as a young child? Did you think you were going to grow up and help make 365 businesses? Or, what was that tale that you told yourself as a young child? What did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
I was in survival mode my entire childhood. So we won't go there for very long. But it wasn't like a fairy tale childhood for, I literally was taught the tale that you grow up, you get married, you have babies. And then I watched my parents get divorced when I was 12. And I was like, and then I watched what happened to my mom just kind of crumbled. Then she decided to be a recluse spider, and so did my brothers and sisters. And then my mom shipped my brother back to be with my dad, who was abusive. It was just like this whole... And I really looked at my life at 12, and I was like, everything I was just sold was not true.
Yeah.
And so I just decided at 12, and I'm not kidding. It's probably why I'm so resilient today, that no matter what, I got to look out for number one, that I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to strive and build the life that I want, that no one else is going to build it for me. At that point, I felt like no one else is going to be there for me. And I really have to do this alone. And it caused me to kind of go down this path of kind of this hardened heart for a long time. And I was lucky to have amazing people come into my life to help me soften that heart, a lot, because I was very protected. I didn't trust anybody. And then now looking back, I'm completely a 180 of I care and I serve and
I would never have thought that. Just, because I know we don't know each other very well. We've only known each other through NABO. But I would have never have felt that, energy.
Yeah. I was scared as a child. Like I didn't know what the outcomes were going to be. And then I didn't trust that family unit. I didn't trust that was, because everything you were sold was like a lie.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but that was my whole childhood. And so I never really felt safe, kind of, and I knew I had to create my own life of safety. And I think that's what drew me to climb the corporate ladder, to just be the best, to be great at everything I did, to push harder, to push further. And then I got in this circle of, great, I hit that goal, what's next? Great, I hit that goal, what's next? Great. And that is not healthy either.
No, I'm about to say, you got to celebrate too.
Because you're constantly striving. You're never looking back at saying like, wow, look at how far you've come. And so I do think all of the times and years that I've worked with women in coaching was so healing for me too, because I needed to be healed at the same time that I was there for them and supporting them and seeing them and championing them. I needed those women in my life to see me, to champion me. And we all need that for people in our lives. And building a business, you just can't do that alone. Building a community, you can't do it alone. Building a bit, we all need people.
Yeah. And any endeavor. Building a family, building, literally any endeavor you look at. It's like, if you will only accomplish those goals with a team. Yeah. And that team could be a team of 2. It could be a team of 8. It could be a team of 18. Yeah. It just really is. It's like, okay, what are you good at?
Yeah.
And then figure out, fill in the gaps, in
Yeah.
between. And so, yeah, it's really powerful.
Yeah. We own a catering company now, and I would have never seen myself owning a company that has anything to do with food.
Okay.
Because it's like one of those things like food restaurants, run,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to lose a business real fast? You want to lose some money? Do a restaurant.
Right. That's what everyone says. But I will tell you that we bought this catering company with our son and daughter-in-law, and it has been so fun. This company has grown so fast. We cater to all the brides. And,
well, tell me what's the name of the catering company.
Called Beyond Basil Mobile Pizzeria. And we're on Instagram because
that sounds tasty.
It is. And it's wood-fired, grilled.
Okay, why didn't you bring any? No,
I'd have to bring the whole trailer here.
Right.
It's not good when it's old. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Everyone likes cold pizza, but I'm like, this one, no, it's not good when it's cold.
Got it.
But it's Neapolitan pizza, and I'm learning so much about pizza. And we were like a pizza family, so it was really fun to buy this company with our kids.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to build this company with our kids. And so, your perspective changes when you start buying other businesses and growing, and you're like, wow, I really enjoy this. And we might go into a brick and mortar. That might be the next step. So many people ask us, oh my gosh, I'm celiac, but I can eat your pizza because we get our flour from Italy. It's processed a lot different over there.
Yeah.
And they're like, where can I buy it? I'm like, nowhere, because we're a catering company. So we have big plans for that company. So, your life shifts quite a bit. When your kids grow up, your life looks different. When your kids are babies, it looks different. Our life has looked different with now this business needs a little bit more of my attention. The drone business is franchising. So that's really my seat, which is working on the franchise side of the business and growing that piece. And doing the Empower and Elevate conferences, because that's a total give back. It's something I love to do and bring, 200 female business owners together to meet each other. I have my hands in a lot of things, but I was just talking to a girlfriend earlier, and it's like, do the things that you love, but you've got to have the time of the things that really fill you up, like that serve your heart. And, we need to make time for those things in our lives. And I was just listening to a speaker today, and she said, I had my baby and was holding the baby just hours old in the hospital, and my friend came. And she's like, hey, can you help me? And she's like, you want your computer, don't you? She's like, I do, here. And she handed off her baby to catch up on her work for when she was in labor the last 48 hours. And life shouldn't be that way. And that's the job that you create as an entrepreneur. And she was teaching how that was totally wrong for us to feel that way. So if any entrepreneurs are out there that feel that way, like, stop it. Stop.
I gotta say, I'm guilty of it. On my birthing bed, I was messaging like, hey, give me a little bit, just gave birth. I was one of those too. Yeah. In 2019 for my son, I was messaging people, 12 in the afternoon, right after giving birth, just like, give me a bit, I'll get back to you.
I think we need to figure out and understand that the sky is not going to fall if we step back. And
with most businesses. And I try to remind myself that. I'm like, I am not a brain surgeon. I don't heal people. Right. I produce videos. So, we will meet every deadline. Yeah. But if your email takes 12 hours versus 6 hours, it's not going to change the result.
It's not. And I also think a really good thing to kind of step back and look at your business is, if it can't run without you, why?
Right.
Why can't it?
Right.
And then who do you need to put in place that can do that? How, right? Who do you need to put in place so that when times where you do have to step back, or you might have to fly out of state for some reason, or whatever it is, that there are people that can plug those holes and the freaking thing doesn't, go down and sink because you pulled yourself out of it. And that's the number one thing. When you start a business, the visual I used to give every owner I've ever worked with is, you're the cog in the middle of the wheel making it turn. You're in the middle. You are the person making it turn. Without you pull that out, everything just falls to pieces. And it should be that way when you first start the business, because you're teaching, hiring, teaching,
making systems.
But then little by little, you need to start pulling yourself out, and you need to put someone else in that place that can hold that place and be that operations manager, or someone to oversee, whatever it is, so that you can step out. And the biggest excuse I get is, I can't afford it. And I always tell people, you can't afford not to do it. And you don't even realize until you invest in it how much time you get back. and how much you can go do with that time. And whether you want to be the best grandma, or whether you need more time with your family, or you want to get out and do more networking, or you want to go do more sales and show up at more conferences, whatever that looks like, you've got to get someone that you can pull yourself out to go do the things that is going to help the business, is going to help you, whatever that might be. You cannot remain the cog in the wheel in the center, because anytime you get sick, anytime anything happens, the business just comes to a screeching halt, and it should never be that way.
And that's when it's not really a business, it's just a job. No,
it's a job.
It's so amazing.
The
like I
biggest
literally
job.
was having this conversation with my team literally 2 days ago. I was on set for something that I wanted to be there. And then I got all these emails about sending videos. And I'm like, hey, edit team, you have the power to communicate to our clients and say, here are the videos. I do not need to be the cog to always be the one saying, here's your videos, when I didn't even do the edits, And so I think it is a matter of having the confidence that, it doesn't need to be all you, but then B, giving the team members the confidence, because I find that that's been the biggest hesitant. I know I've said it before, but it's like you have to really, give your team members the confidence of like, no, you talk.
It's about empowering them.
Yeah.
So the difference between that micromanagement and the empowering, when you empower your team to make decisions for you, another analogy, because I love these, is like a tree. So are they making a leaf decision? If you're making a leaf decision, if a tree loses a leaf, does it die? No.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of team members that'll make little leaf decisions, and it's not going to kill the tree. Then you've got, the branch decisions, which could hurt if it's, a big thing. So that would be someone giving back refunds,
right?
Several of those types of things.
Yeah, I always say if it's less than $100, the answer is yes.
When you're making trunk decisions, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's a big deal, right? So it all should come back to the owner if it's a trunk decision. So I look at those analogies like a tree, because it's an easy way to teach. Like, analogy. If you make all of these decisions and all these leaves fall off the tree, we're fine, because we can grow more or grow more leaves.
Maybe it's wintertime.
But I do think that empowering your team and helping them understand the whys behind it, then they can just go. And then you'd be surprised. Your company is only as good as your team and the length at which you allow your team to do their things. And if someone on my team is just amazing at a CRM, I'm not going to get in their way. I'm going to take their lead. They're going to tell me what I need to do. I'm going to ask them questions, because that's their specialty. Same with like video editors, right? Yeah. That's their specialty. I'm going to take I'm not going to get in there. Like, you can't get in and be like, oh, I don't like that. I'm going to just change this video. It's like, then they're losing confidence in the way that they did that. So we really have to empower our team, like you talked about, and help them understand this is okay. I want you to make these decisions. And then they can just run with it. Right. And then it saves you so much time. And it just becomes so blissful, because then you're like, I'll never be able to operate without my team, because they're so amazing. Yes.
And it's like a choose your hard. Like another conversation I was having with a team member who's like, oh, I should just do it because I know how to do it, and it will take too long to teach someone else. And I'm like, well, let's choose our hard. Do we want to keep this path where we're going to always have to be the one to do it? Or do you know for a fact you could teach this person how to do it, and then you can do all these other high level things that only you can do?
So true.
And it's just, I don't know.
Record it, training them, send it to them, create a SOP so that now you've got it done. And then in case that person ever leaves, you have it for the next person. And then there's not all that training. But the one time you have to train them, or the 2 times, or whatever it is they have to train them, is much shorter than you doing it
all the time. And it's just choose your heart. Although it might feel easy to do it yourself. And I know, and I speak well with this now, because I've fought through it. We've been in business for over 10 years. And of course, in year 3, I was like, I should just do it. I need to do it. I know how to do it. And it wasn't until year 6 or 7 or so where I was like, no, I should train people how to do it, so then I can do things only I can do. But why do you think, entrepreneurs and business owners have that mindset struggle to say, I should delegate?
Ego is number one, right? They think they can only do it. My husband actually went through this. He can only fly the drone this certain way. No one else does it the way he does it. And I'm like, if you taught someone how to fly it the way you fly it, then they could do it that way. And he had to find out on his own with duplicate events that were going on, and he brought on employees, started training them, and then they would call in sick or couldn't. Mm-hmm. So then he had to find the right person, mm-hmm. which wound up being a gentleman who actually retired, from the Chandler Police Force, and he loves to fly drones. Love him. And he's an older gentleman, and he loves to. He's kind of like a side thing that he loves to do. Mm-hmm. And versus my husband had started with younger kids that were like 18, 19, mm-hmm. 20 years old, and that just didn't work out for him. Mm-hmm. So we have to A, put our ego aside. B, we need to get out of our own way. You're in your own way. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say you're in your own way. Get out of your own way. Because your ego is saying, I'm the only one that can do that. And that is the biggest BS line I've ever heard in my life. Because I've just realized, I do not like creating newsletters. I'm not good in Canva. Right. I never have been. My brain doesn't work that way in creativeness. I'm more of that vision, this is where I see the company going. This is what we need to build it. Mm-hmm. And then let's start working it backwards. And then I need someone to do these things, mm-hmm. someone to do these things because I'm not good at it. So I think that's the number one thing. Our ego tells us we're the only ones that can do it. That's the biggest line of crap. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is we don't want to get out of our own way. So we are literally blocking our growth 100%. And I've watched it for 25 years, businesses blocking their own growth. I've watched business owners empower their team and literally never even have to step foot in their brick and mortar store or ever have to be there. And they're just making money hand over fist. And they're out running their kids to school, mm-hmm. Being part of the PTSO, doing all the stuff,
doing nonprofit
work, being on boards. Then they have a manager who's checking in with them, and they're growing that manager as a leader. Everyone's being grown as a leader in the community. Then I've watched other businesses, the exact same business, where the owner has the ego. They're in their way. No one can teach better than I can. No one can do this better than I can. They're literally in there from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. They do not have a life. Their team all quits all the time because they're micromanaged. They do not want to work for that person.
Empowered to do anything.
And that business closes. Well, what do you think the difference was?
Yeah, it's the leadership. And
had nothing to do with the business. Wasn't the business model, wasn't any of that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the staff that they brought on. No. It had everything to do with that one person that never looked in the mirror. Yeah. And so empowering your team is going to just release you of so much responsibility for you to step back, and you cannot scale a business without multiplying your time. And the only, we all have 24 hours. You do, mm-hmm. I do. And I was you can pick any person in the world that you admire their growth of a business. And do you think that they did it by themselves? No. They started the idea. That was the idea. And then they were one until they became two, and then three, and then four. And then they just kept growing based on building a team.
One of my favorite books is Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull.
Yeah,
and that's exactly it. He, had a vision about, what if we can animate movies just using computers? He had a dream, but it wasn't just him alone to make it become a reality. Yeah. He had to build a team.
Yeah. And Walt Disney, it has a name, and Disney is from Walt Disney, but you think he did all of this by himself? Yeah. Parks wouldn't even have become a thing.
Yeah.
Without, I think it was his brother or someone else that kind of all of that stuff expands.
Yeah, the CEO that was the CEO for 20 years was not Walt Disney. And so, it's, it's about building that team. And so beyond building the team, for those who are watching that are moms and also business owners, what are some other, advices or tips you would have to them to have a quality balance in order to be truly present for your children?
I don't believe that we can ever balance anything. That's almost impossible to do, right? But what I can say is we can put priorities on things, and you really need to look at what are the priorities in your life. I have girls that are, 30 and older, and what I love about watching them raise their families is They will make sure that they have their whole morning available to their children. And they're entrepreneurs to be able to get them off to school, do the whole morning routine. So they're not trying to get on their computers or talk on the phone. They're blocked off. Like they just don't work during that time. Yeah. They get their kids off to school. Once the kids are off to school, they're off to the races. And then between 8 o'clock when they drop them off or 8:30 and then pick them up again at 3, they do all the things that they need to do in the middle, right? All the things that they need to do in the middle, whether they're, showing homes or going and picking up, plumbing supplies. But I'm trying to think of all the kids and all the different businesses we have. And then they go pick their kids up from school and then they have their time with their kids. Yeah. And then, if their kids are playing with friends or whatever, or doing homework, they might be on their computer or making dinner. And then once they get their kids settled down again at night, they might get back on their computers for another hour or two. But if you can't get done what you need to get done between that many hours that those kids are at school, what I always say, what are you doing with your time? If you have to work that many hours, what are you really doing with your time? I've seen moms that had babies at home and they would say, I would just carve out. And I've done this with my own grandkids when I've watched them for days when their parents were out of town. As soon as they go down for a nap, I open up my computer and I just pump it out for 2 straight hours.
Oh, yeah.
I know exactly what I need to get done. And then when everyone's asleep again at night, I'll pump out 2 more hours. 4 hours in a day, you can get so much work done.
Yeah.
And why, that would be my advice. You've got to put priorities on the things that are important to you. Never try to get your work done at the same time you're trying to show attention to your children or get them ready, because they already can see that you're not present at all for them. That your work is more important than them. That's what they're going to see. And that's what a lot of kids were raised on. My dad went to work. My dad traveled. We never saw my dad. My mom was always home. That's what kids remember. And I remember corporate America. That was me. I traveled all the time. And I just said to myself, that's why I'm so passionate about franchising this business, because I want people to be able to pick and choose their time to build their life and to be present for their families.
Well, thank you for saying that. Apparently I'm doing a decent job, because
that's
awesome. Literally what I do. I live by the calendar. Like I legitimately have in green, like when it's family time, like whether it's James's baseball practice and I am at baseball practice, or I do the same thing, because I don't know where my phone is in the mornings.
Yeah.
I literally don't. Maybe it's in the room, maybe it's in the kitchen, but in the mornings, you're right. It's get the kids to school.
Never have my phone.
It doesn't matter anything else, you know. And the same thing too. Once it's become, that 4 o'clock time, then I'm in mom mode until about 9 o'clock. And my clients that I work with get to know that. They understand. Oh, it's 4:30. Okay, she's probably not going to answer the phone. And
and the sky's not going to fall if you don't.
Exactly.
Honestly, you're not going to miss a deal because, you're not a heart surgeon, right? Someone's not going to die because you didn't answer your phone. And if that person wants to be a client or really work with you, then you shouldn't have to. I just remember looking at my husband one night and I'm like, are you seriously checking emails or returning emails or texting someone at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night? Like me, you won't even hear me a peep from me on Sunday. Faith and Family on Sunday. That's it. I am not open on Sundays. Our catering company is not open on Sundays. And people are shocked by that. They were shocked by Chick-fil-A not being open and saying that wouldn't work. We're not open on Sundays. We want our families and our employees and their families to not have to worry about working on Sundays. There's a lot of weddings on Sunday where we don't get to serve because we say we're closed on Sunday, but it has not affected our business. No. So I think it's important for everyone to remember that you've got to stick with the values, go back to your core values, and that should shine through your business, and it's builds your character. And so people are going to want to work with you based on that as well.
Which is hard, I think, for those who maybe are just early in business, is that you're actually saying no to some people, but sometimes saying no can be the most liberating thing. It can be so great to say, we're not a good fit. Yeah. Because not everyone is a good fit, and that is okay.
I had a hairdresser say to me once, I had been with her for 30 years. So she was older, 60s or so. And she said to me, I pick and choose now, who I want to do their hair. And I thought to myself, why didn't you pick and choose whose hair you wanted to do when you were in your 20s? Why are we so desperate to take on? It's and then I always like to ask everyone, who's your favorite clients? who are your non-favorite clients? And everyone right away knows all the non-favorite clients. And I'm like, how about we never take on these clients again?
I'm grateful to say I couldn't answer that right now.
I'm
at a position finally, I feel, where I cannot say that there's certain people I don't want to.
I think if we said more no's in the beginning, more doors would open for yeses, because those yeses that we tell for the wrong client take up 80% of your time.
Yeah.
They exhaust you and they suck so much time from you. So that would be the number one advice I would give a brand new entrepreneur, is start being selective in the very beginning, because I guarantee you I am super selective in franchising. And it's like, I need you to tell me why you think you're the best fit for this franchise. This isn't you have a check and a heartbeat, you can come on in. No, because I have already seen it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be one of those franchises where all the wrong fit people are in there. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Bringing on the wrong fit clients is a nightmare. You just say no, or in my husband's case, he'll quadruple a quote. And then they're like, oh, no problem. That works out great. He's like, are you kidding me?
Sometimes, though, we do call them a pain in the ass clauses, where you're like, okay, this person, I don't think so, but let's just put a little extra.
No,
and then,
I'm not available.
That's the thing, you make it worth it. And that's the thing, when someone says no, and that's the thing, we really don't do that often. Everything that we do is put on an Excel. How many cameras do you need? How many people do you need? For how long? Everything is very systematized when we do our quotes. And for some people, they go, that's too much. And I feel like my 1-year business self, 2-year business self would have been like, oh, okay, we could discount this and that. Yeah. But, I think through just work, and now it's
no problem.
And I feel
Here's
so confident.
Some other company that I think might be a good referral for you.
Yeah.
And I think that would be like that whole non-competition, that collaboration mindset of yours, where you're like, no problem. Here's a few other companies that I know do similar work that could be a better fit for you.
Exactly.
They're just not your client. And then you have, but you are offering a value to them by saying, here's an ease of finding another company that might work for you.
Right. And I feel like that's always a goal too. I always want to be a resource. And so that's why, like, knowing another drone company, knowing another podcasting company, knowing all those things, because we're all a little different. Like you mentioned, the only real true difference is ourselves. And so if people jive with someone else a little more, at least we're still helping find solutions.
Yeah. We did weddings for a long time, and we really don't do weddings anymore. So we don't really even advertise weddings. Yeah. And I would prefer to have a company that I could just refer all the weddings to if they happen to land on our website for drones. Now, for our catering company, it's like, well, we would prefer to do weddings over other private events, because we love weddings, but we do them both. Yeah. So, I honestly feel like having other companies that are very similar to yours are just great resources for referral. And the people, that possible customer that you were like, no, we don't really do that, or we're not available because we don't want to take them on as a client, then you say, hey, here's an opportunity. I have franchise consultants that I know that work with a lot of brands. And so if someone comes to me and they're like, well, I don't think your brand is a good fit for me as a franchise, I'll say, are you looking into other brands? I have some people I can introduce you to that can help you look into other brands for free. And that might be the best way for you to really get down to the best franchise for you. That's me doing a service for someone that is never going to spend money with me, but I'm moving them over to another person, which in return, that individual might say, hey, Colleen, I think I might have a good prospect for you in your franchise. Thanks for sending me all the individuals that you send me. So we kind of, scratch each other's back.
Definitely. Too. No, we have to as a community, I feel.
Give to give.
Yes.
Not give to receive.
Yes, give to give. It is better to give. Because, anything you give will reciprocate and come back eventually with, just good karma and good energy.
Karma.
Yeah. The name of my first kitty was Karma. So.
Really?
Yeah, she was a black and white tuxedo.
Oh.
And I named her Karma.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I moved here to Arizona with her. She was my little passenger in my seat. I had a car without AC, and so she was just panting and spraying water on her. And yes, I was 19 years old moving to Arizona. So did not have my business, did not have as much money. But it was a good journey.
I know. So you look at where you are today, and how blessed you are for all the people that gave you a hand up or created a platform for you. Or I think we just always need to be giving thanks and be humble for that.
This year I started every day on my calendar, because I still have a good old classic wall calendar. I write every morning when I wake up, what am I grateful for? Because every morning it's like, let's start with gratitude and let's start with feeling grateful for something. And sometimes it's as small as I feel restful. Or I'm grateful for my kitties to lay on me when I wake up.
Or like I'm breathing today.
Yeah.
Would be a good one.
And then sometimes they're more detailed about something that may have happened. Maybe I did see a big deal landed and someone signed a contract. But, I do think starting in gratitude and recognizing, people may not remember what you say to them, but they'll remember how they made you feel. And so it's like, okay, recognizing those people who have helped you in your journey. And sometimes it's even people whom were in a bad influence that have positively influenced yourself. So like myself, I had situation of bad bosses. And so I was able to see like how to not run a business and everything I didn't want to do. And so it's like when we add people to the team, I will send them sometimes like a new team member survey. I want to know their birthday and I want to know all these things.
Yeah, what do you love? Birthday, by the way. What do you love? What do you enjoy? Yeah. And that's something that's so important, because if you just like, hey, I'm giving out Starbucks gift cards to all of my team.
But they don't like Starbucks. They don't like coffee. Yeah.
Or like everyone gets Suns tickets and they hate basketball.
Right.
It makes no sense. Maybe that person loves the ballet. So if you were to do something that they love, it's appreciated so much more. And then they know you see them and that you know what they love. That's huge. I did a survey once in one of the companies I worked for, and I asked everyone, what is it that you would just love? It's not a compensation of money.
Right.
But what would you love? The number one thing was that people would say thank you and recognize me for my efforts. I would work longer without being paid more, and I would dedicate myself and be more loyal if people would just appreciate me and say thank you. And I was like, we need to start a gratitude program because this is ridiculous. They don't want more money. They don't want more time off. They don't want more of all this stuff that I think top down thinks that that's what is valuable. They literally want someone to say thank you.
And good job.
Thank you.
And where that maybe psychologically comes from, I was listening to a podcast about raising resilient children. Yeah. Whenever they finish something, you say, good job. They do an activity, you say, good job. Well, now we're actually conditioning adults that when they don't hear good job, they wonder, did I do a good job?
So how many people seek for outside validation?
Yeah.
And when you're an entrepreneur, seeking for outside validation is a little bit more difficult, right? Because it's not like your team's just going to be like, hey, good job, boss. Hey, good job, boss. So then we seek for testimonials.
Yep.
And testimonials are important for two things. One, validation for you. Two, third-party validation for your company.
Which is so huge because, there wouldn't be Yelp. Think about it. How many times have you purchased something and not look at a review?
Right.
Like you always got to look at reviews. You want to see what other people.
A restaurant to eat somewhere, you're looking at reviews.
Exactly. Yeah. If it has less than 4.5 stars, I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna go there.
I picked stuff in other states I've been in, and mine was like, let's go here, and I'm like, there's 3 stars.
Right.
Like I don't know if there's 100 people gave it 3 stars. So I'm gonna say those 100 people weren't satisfied. We might want to choose a different location.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true.
It is, and companies need to realize that the delivery of what you're delivering needs to be top notch. So if you're dealing with customers that aren't your right fit, they're 100% not going to give you 5 stars. They're 100% going to complain no matter what you do or deliver to them. And then they're going to tell other people not good things about your company. These are just all the reasons why you say no in the beginning. Because if you say no, but you could have had 5 customers instead of 2, now you can give all our attention to those 2 that are going to leave you 5 stars. They're going to tell other people about you, and you're going to get referrals from them.
And probably those 2 are actually spending more money than the other 8.
And it's going to take you so much further because those other ones are going to hurt you. There's so many reasons why I could tell it. But you know what? We didn't always know that starting businesses in the beginning. So we did get desperate and take any client.
It's such a different position. Like I feel like, 10 years into business, it's so easy to talk these ways when, you know, when you're first starting, and it's really hard. And I feel for those people who are just starting, because it wasn't too long where I was just there as myself.
Those are real challenges. They are real challenges. So that's why I say get a mentor, get a coach, get someone who can help you with that, like those tactical pieces, that mindset piece, that all of those things that we're talking about that help you become resilient, so you don't, you know, kind of just, you know, crush under pressure and be like, all right, fine, I'll take that $200 for whatever that is. It's like, no, the value of what you're offering is, and if you would just believe that and stand in that truth and not lower your prices, you know, I mean, we could go on and on about all of the brands out there that never lower their prices and charge hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people will still buy it no matter what. You have a demographic at every price point.
Yep.
Just remember that.
So before starting my business, I used to work at Rest in Peace Sports Authority. And at Sports Authority, we would have a cost plus 10 day. So that meant we were able to buy anything in the store at cost plus 10%. Okay. And I was amazed, like Under Armour do 250% markups. Like being able to buy things, but no one has ever batted an eye at the price of an Under Armour shirt or the price of a Nike shoe. And
because they have a high value brand.
They do. And so that was a real eye-opening for me before I started my business of, wow, if you just have perceived value, it doesn't really matter what that dollar point is, as long as when I put that shoe on, I feel that $100. If I put that shirt on, it's doing its job and I feel good in it. So that was a real eye-opener for me when I did work retail of how much things really can be marked up, but it doesn't even matter to the average person.
You know, the wrong fit client will never be your raving fan. You need raving fans. So you have individuals out there, I have them in my family, they'll only wear Under Armour. I have individuals in my family will not wear Under Armour, they'll only wear Nike or Adidas or whatever brand it is, right? Like I won't buy a Mercedes, but I love the brand BMW. Why? I don't know. I just have really enjoyed that brand. I've bought vehicles that brand, and I've been in Mercedes and I'm like, right? So I'm partial to one or the other. When you have loyal fans and raving fans and loyal customers, they are going to be your biggest mouthpiece that are going to post about you. They're going to tell their friends about you. Those clients that nitpick everything, that are your wrong fit clients, they're going to cause you the most pain, cost you the most time and money, by the way. You never really get that money back. They cost you, and they're going to be the biggest pain in the butt to telling everyone, oh, well, this is why I wouldn't work with Taylor. This is why I wouldn't work with Colleen Biggs. And it's like, what?
Right.
You know, so, and then when there's 1,000 people out there raving about how amazing you are, and that one person, everyone's like, what the heck?
Right, what are you doing?
But what if a person who's just doesn't know you, they're just stumbling upon you, and then this mouthpiece over here causes them to make a different call or decision about working with you, it hurts your business. So if that's the one thing anyone walks out of here with, it's like, you've got to find the right fit clients for you in everything you're doing. I'm doing it now in the franchise. Like, I'm not going to bring on the wrong franchisees. Right. Sorry. I'm going to say no, and I'm not going to award them if I don't feel like they're the right fit. And we have to be that way. You know, we do. We have to protect our brand. We have to protect our customers too, right? And then our customers to come. We have to protect them too. It's our responsibility as an owner to do that.
Definitely. So I mentioned Creativity Inc. as a book I absolutely love. What's a tale that you've loved to read or listen to, or maybe one of your favorite movies?
Other than like to me, Think and Grow Rich and the Bible are like, right? You just like, they read them every year. Think and Grow Rich is the #1 book. That is 1936, I think it was.
Very old.
Very old.
Napoleon Hill.
All of every single chapter in there. I've taught it at workshops. I've given, I don't know how many of those books away to people. That to me is the #1 book if you're a brand new entrepreneur. That's the #1 book you should read. It has everything to do with gratitude, manifestation, masterminds, putting people around you, people that you can
even if it's just in your mind that you think you're working with.
It's all about making decisions, you know, burning the boats and making sure that you don't have a backup plan. This is it. So you got to run with it. There's so much in that book that is for a brand new entrepreneur, a seasoned entrepreneur, an entrepreneur trying a different
I re-listened to it just last year, actually. So I had listened to that book. I do a lot of audibles because driving and, taking care
I love
of kids.
Audible.
And
sure.
Yeah, I remember listening to that book in year 2, I want to say, of my business. And then just the other year, I was like, you know what?
And I bet you got something out of it differently when you listen to it as a seasoned entrepreneur versus a new entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if we actually take the steps in the book, I've always had my clients, proclaim a goal and sign it and copy it and put it by their bed at night and put it in their office in the morning to where they're visually looking at that and reading it. And it's, that whole manifestation piece, like what you see, you believe, it's all about that. Your outer world is a complete reflection of your inner world. And I tell people all the time, if you don't like your outer world, change it. They're like, it's not that easy. I'm like, I never said it was easy.
Yeah.
But you just got to put the right people on your team or in your path
and
to help you change that. Anything is possible. Any change is possible. There's a gentleman, Johnny Lou, that is out of California, and he was just at a business conference with me. And he was incarcerated, made all the wrong decisions when he was younger. He's still married to his same wife who forgave him. And his life, now he has a nonprofit, his life is about teaching and helping long-term offenders understand that they need to change their mindset, that they're in control of their life. There's so much they can do when they get out of prison. And that's like his whole mission. I love that too, because it's mindset.
It is, yeah.
You can't, your outer world's not going to change in there.
Yeah.
Your environment doesn't change. You have to change it here. And that's what he teaches. And he's just an amazing gentleman.
That's excellent. And one of my favorite lyrics is Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. There's 2 paths you can go on, but in the long run, there's still the time to change the road you're on. Like, that's so true. It's just, you'd be going one way, but you have the ability and the decision to change the road and change your mindset and change the path that you want to go down.
Yeah.
So that's super cool.
I don't think anyone's ever damned to hell because they've had a bad path or a rough past or a rough life. I feel like anyone can be reformed and changed and get a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance. And I don't think that's for us to judge, right? That's for God to judge, for one. But be there to support other people on that path and believe in them and champion them. I mean, really, because that's just being a good human, right? And not hurting other people or putting them down or stepping on them to get to where you want to be. And that just has everything to do with that collaboration and service mindset and that gratitude that you talk about every morning.
Yeah, and that idea of helping other people. So we have the pleasure of working with the city of Chandler and there's Sports Hall of Fame induction videos. And one of the interviews I recently did was with a professional baseball player. And he actually spoke about how, like, your character really means a difference. Like, you can be the best, shortstop person out there, but if you're not kind to others and if you don't care for others, like, you're not a team member. You're not a locker room person, and you could be as skilled as anyone, but you're not going to last long. And so truly that having that caring aspect of other people is so huge, no matter if it's in entrepreneurialism, if it's being, just a team member in this beautiful world we call Earth.
I think the greatest, I like football, and I think some of the
Who's
greatest.
your team?
Well, my granddaughter absolutely loves Mahomes on the Chiefs, and she really got me like loving him and the team many years ago, before they went to the Super Bowl, because I just love my granddaughter. But and I have a daughter or a granddaughter whose name is Peyton, and she was born on the 18th of April, which is Peyton Manning's number.
Yeah, right there.
We have a lot of that in the family, but I will tell you the greatest quarterbacks of all time, if we were to just put them all out on a...
what's your Mount Rushmore of...
Mount Rushmore, right? If we put them all out there, every single one of them created synergy and community within their team. There's no way their teammates would have done as well as they did if they didn't trust them. Everybody had to trust each other, that's how you build a company.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to trust each other. And
be
the quarterback
kind.
can't do it by himself. The team can't do it without the quarterback, right? So you're the quarterback of your company, but you have to empower all of them to do what they do best. The quarterback is not a wide receiver. The quarterback is,
not a left tackle, gonna watch your black side.
Not a kicker either, right? So we really have to empower them.
Yeah.
So I 100% believe in exactly what you're saying when it comes to that, for sure.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Patrick Mahomes, because I too love football, and I've watched many things and read many things. And one thing that he does in particular is even when he's sacked or taken down, he'll compliment the defensive player.
Yeah, nice job.
He'll always compliment them, say good job. He's always really cordial.
And not pissed off that he got sacked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that makes such a difference, because the people who get angry, the people who yell at their offensive linemen for not making that block, they're the ones who then make business decisions and say, I think I'm going to miss that block again and let you get nailed. And so I think the same thing as a leader.
Yeah.
If you're not encouraging people and praising people and making people feel good, why are they going to protect you?
They're not.
Yeah.
So that's how you build a loyal team, by caring about them and loving them and giving them grace when they have things going on. I remember I've had team members like, I'm so sorry, my daughter's sick. And I'm like, okay, you take as much time as you need. And then you let me know and I can pick up from there, or so-and-so can take over for what you're doing until you get back. I could never imagine like, okay, great. Well, we need you by tomorrow. So hopefully your daughter's better by tomorrow. And then you got to jump on in. That's just not the way it works.
Yeah, no, that's not realistic. So if you were to write a book, or if you already have, what would be the title of that tale?
I definitely have another book coming. I've written and been part of 7 books up to this point today, and I never would have told you, oh yeah, I'm going to be an author. Everyone was like, oh, when you become an entrepreneur, you need a book. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why do I need a book, right? I did write a book called Step Into the Spotlight to expand your influence and attract the right clients. And that was early on. I figured out that if I show up authentically as me and I do my thing, I attract the right clients that I want to work with. I attract the right community I want to be around. And I believe that is the number one piece, the authenticity piece of showing up exactly the way you are and really caring about others. But I've got another book in me, and my story is not done. Yeah. And I know that because last year I was like, oh, I'm going to write a book next year. And now with like working on the catering business, and that's all new. And, I was thinking about writing a book before that one. It's like, no, now I've got all this new stuff and that I can put in the book. So I really enjoy business books. They're really my favorite thing to read. So for me, I think everyone needs to just focus on what is the area that you feel like you need to learn. Like when I read the book Atomic Habits, I pulled one nugget out of that book. When I read the book The One Thing, I pulled one nugget out of that book, right? Like I could go on and on. I've got thousands of books in fact, I've had to move them into the other grandkids' room in the closet, and I started stacking them on a bookcase in there because I ran out of space. Like my whole house will go up in flames because of all the paper. I'm just saying that's going to happen. That's not hopefully.
No, it's not going to happen.
But we need to read the books that appeal to where we're at in our journey, right? So I may be further along in my journey. Someone might be further behind in their journey. They need help in a marketing area, right? They need help in another area. So I think it's important for us to recognize that. But I've got another book in me. It's just not, I don't know what it's going to be yet. I really don't. I'm not really sure what it's going to be, so I can't answer that question right now.
No problem. So how can we stay tuned with everything that you're doing? So when you are ready to launch that book or you're ready for another conference, we know how to stay connected with you and be in the same room as you.
Yeah, I would say ColleenBiggs.net for sure. That's my website. And if anyone's listening with and interested, like, I want to buy a business, for being able to fly a drone and have that type of a business, that would be PhoenixDronePros.com. And we have a franchise opportunity on there. And then I'll plug our catering company. You can follow us on Instagram, because who doesn't love to see videos of pizza at Beyond Basil Pizza on Instagram.
Excellent. We'll have also all the links on the show notes and everything. And, as we come to the close, I'd love to know, what's your favorite animal with a tail?
I'm scared to death of dogs, so we'll say that one. So I think my favorite animal with a tail would probably be a fox. I honestly
Ooh.
think I just think they're so beautiful
Yeah.
and they're curious. And there's just something about a fox. I tend to see them a lot.
You know, we have foxes around this studio since we have security cameras all around. We do have security cameras all around. We'll get catches of like, oh, a pet's been spotted.
Yeah.
And there's like 2 little foxes that live somewhere around here. And it's so cute to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little puffy tails.
Yeah.
I see them every country I travel to in states. I just think foxes are adorable. I don't get too close to them though, because I hear they're like, maybe not so nice.
Well, they are wild animals.
Yes.
So that's probably a smart thing. I know another one of my colleagues that I work with, she regularly has bobcats in her backyard, but she also does not touch the bobcats.
They're not home pets.
No, observe them from a distance. Yeah. Yes.
I observe the fox from a distance.
Excellent. Yeah, use that telephoto lens and just look at them from a distance.
Absolutely.
So you have given us so many good tips, Colleen. Thank you so
Taylor.
much.
Oh my gosh, you've been an amazing host. Thank you.
Thank you. I do enjoy sitting in this chair. At one point, I thought I was going to be an anchor. However, I didn't want to have to do like breaking news with a name I couldn't pronounce correctly. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. So now I'm here.
So funny.
And so as we come to the close, if there's any, final message that you would want to leave for people.
Yeah, I'm going to just talk about human kindness. And the message I want to send is just treat other people the way that you want to be treated.
That's the golden rule. That's truly, I was on Tish Times podcast yesterday and she asked me too, she's like, how are you so good at follow-up? Why are you so good at it? And it's that answer. Treat people the way you want to be treated. I appreciate when people follow up with me because I'm so busy that I want to do the same to others. So treat people the way you want to be treated and say more no's in the beginning because you'll be amazed how powerful your no's can truly be. And so thank you so much, Colleen. I truly appreciate this opportunity to just chat and even get to know each other more.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching Tales with Taylor. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Financial Potion YouTube channel to never miss an episode.